Sometimes the world looks like you ain't ever seen it before. Stuck behind never-ending windows, all you need is a door. Searching for something to put a smile back on your face. Just remember, in unusual times, it can come from an unusual place. You need a partner for the ride, 'cause everybody needs a Clyde. So set your worries to the side. Just ask, say the word and I'll be there. Just ask, you know the greatest things in life all come in a pair. They say hindsight's 20/20, but that ain't far enough behind me. So if you want the sweetest honey, I think hindsight's 1990. There's no need to pretend I got a hand I can lend, 'cause when you really need a friend, just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Are you ready to slay another day? So are we. Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sara Fergenson. Sarah, how are you?
Jess, I just clocked into my werewolf watch it's my turn. You know, we did signups and it's my turn.
Now, did you bring a pillow or did you bring a bedtime story for the werewolf?
I myself am already asleep, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm a sleepy girl. I'm a resident sleepy girl. And there's nothing more than I love than bed. I love bed. If I could stay in bed 100% of the time, then I would be so happy. So yeah, I would fall. I mean, we're going to probably say a lot about Xander, but how can I blame Xander?
I can blame Xander.
When I would probably do the same exact thing.
But you wouldn't volunteer. Like, here's the thing. Willow was there, and she's like, the only reason I am not going to stay here is because I need to study. And Xander's like, don't you worry, I've got it. It's not like he accidentally fell asleep. It's like he went there with the purpose, with the sole purpose in his mind of like, I'm just going to sleep there.
I don't think so. I don't think
he laid his head down to rest 2 seconds after he walked in.
Well, probably because he was sleepy. He was like, I am sleepy, so I'm going to just rest my head down. And he fell asleep, which is an honest mistake, but
it's not, though.
He done fucked up because, I mean, the thing is that if you have overnight duties, you have to take them seriously. And this is why if there's 3 shifts, the first and last shift is the best. Nobody wants the middle shift.
No, middle shift is obviously garbage.
Yeah.
But obviously we're talking season 3, episode 4 of Buffy, Beauty and the Beasts. And we got another werewolf episode.
I guess.
Well, I mean, we saw Oz change again. Like Oz was like a big player in this episode, right? But where do we want to begin? Because let me give you our list of topics here, potential topics we can discuss. Yeah. We've got a little bit of Buffy and Faith. Like we got a little bit of Faith this episode, getting to know her a bit more. Xander fucking up big time, causing a question of, did Oz kill someone? Buffy's new guidance counselor, who isn't very long for this world. Buffy and Angel, which is wild times. And then we'll have to talk through, obviously, Pete and Debbie, who are apparently Scott's friends. Like, who the fuck are these strangers? And get them off of my screen, please.
I'm not going to lie. I was not a fan of this episode at all. I was so bored. Like, I watched it 2 times, and I was just so freaking bored. Even the Angel stuff, I was just like, what are we doing here? Like, do I care?
Yeah. I don't disagree. I don't think I wasn't horribly bored. Like, I'm interested in the fact that now they have to babysit Oz during the full moon and that they're putting him in the sex cage. Those are interesting things. What I don't care about is number one, Scott. I thought we were done with Scott because he's so fucking boring. But no, apparently the snooze fest is around to stay. And he's brought his dumbass friends, Pete and Debbie, who immediately I was like, okay, I don't know who these people are, yet the show is making it seem like we should know them. So obviously they're going to be important. Like, I just didn't care. Like, again, sometimes the monster of the weeks are going to hit and sometimes they're not. And it didn't feel like, because normally I think we would both say, Sarah, like, well, at least there's like Buffy and Angel stuff, which is going to have like bigger implications. But it just felt like very rushed to me that he comes back from hell being like the savage beast because time is different there, I guess. And like hundreds of years have passed.
Yes.
And so hundreds of years of him like turning back into this monster that he once was. And then like by the end of the episode, he's Angel again. Like it just felt way too quick for me. I don't know. I almost felt like it should have been a multi-episode arc, but what do you think?
I mean, like it just, when these types of storylines are rushed and there's not a lot of weight, then I tend to not care. I kind of mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, but I was a big fan of American Horror Story for a lot of years. I've seen nearly every season, but when I started to get wary was when death didn't matter anymore. And it just makes everything a lot less meaningless. Like if Angel was gone for the entire season up until like the last quarter and he came back, then I would be a lot more emotionally invested because I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I missed him. Like what has been going on this time? But it doesn't make me feel very excited or like it holds less weight because it was like la-di-da, he came back, but he has like this animalistic side to him. But then it's like la-di-da, it got resolved relatively quickly. So it just makes me not care. And it's like, well, what was the whole point of killing him then? Because that held weight, like that impacted Buffy. And when you Uno reverse card this, then it makes everything a lot less meaningful.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It wasn't even, because you're right. I think our issues with this probably stem back to Angel even coming back in the first place. And not necessarily that he even came back, but that he came back right away, and then Buffy finds him right away. And then he is like, I don't want to say cured because we really don't know, but at the very least, he is not this savage primal beast that he was when he came back, essentially right away. And it just feels like it's way too much too quickly.
And I wonder, excuse me. I just wonder, of course, you and I are watching these episodes week to week. Like we only had a 2-week period before between watching the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3. Obviously, if we were watching this in real time, spending like the entire summer wondering what's going to happen, maybe there's a world where it would mean more to us or it would affect us larger. But of course, this is just the world that TV watching is at the moment, where we are able to binge stuff and everything comes out in like TV chunks. Like binge mode is more frequent and more popular at the moment than the old we'll release one episode a week and then summers are off for TV season. Like it obviously probably felt worse or more meaningful when it was originally airing with the more traditional release format.
Yeah, it just feels like the show. Okay, let me pitch something that I feel like is more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What if, let's replace Scott with someone interesting, first of all.
Okay, so I'm thinking Caleb from Pretty Little Liars.
Okay, perfect. Caleb from Pretty Little Liars is now Buffy's newest love interest.
Yes.
She is very
hot, someone that looks very different from anybody she's ever dated.
Not an Angel replica. Yes.
Someone that is like mysterious and has dark hair and like
could even have a dark myth past, like could be like Oz, could be somewhat supernatural or something. Yeah. But let's pretend she has a new love interest and things are moving along with this love interest. Let's pretend he's in more than like 1 or 2 episodes, right? We're 6 episodes into the season. Maybe Angel's already back, but maybe Buffy hasn't found him yet, or he hasn't run into her sort of situation.
Yes.
Maybe they're just like hints of him being back. Maybe they're finding people killed by vampires and they're like, who killed this person? You know, maybe there's just like a calling card he's leaving behind. I don't know. But they slow play it a little bit.
Yeah, like
and then,
cool noodles.
Exactly. And then what if Buffy is actually a little bit more serious about this new Caleb character? So it's not just like we've been on a few dates and like maybe we've kissed once or twice, but she's actually getting interested in him and actually has feelings for him. And then Angel shows back up. It doesn't feel, like it feels like, oh yes, go.
She has sex with Caleb. It is magical, it is great. Nobody
doesn't give him a soul back.
Yeah.
Or take away his soul.
Yeah. No one turns into an evil monster. And then like at climax, we have knock, knock, knock. Hi, I'm Angel. I have gotten over me being a savage. And also I retired from all of my duties as Satan's pool boy. And I am here to be with you again. I am
exactly. And then she's torn and she has to make a choice. Whereas now, when they bring back Angel now, it's like, well, obviously she's not going to be with this Scott guy because who gives a fuck about Scott? She wants to be with Angel. Yeah. So it takes all of the like heartache and kind of questioning and decision making out of the picture when you bring him back so quickly. And so that's what I was kind of missing. Now, I will say, if I'm going to give the show like some credit and, just like say some good things about this plot line, I thought Sarah Michelle Gellar's acting was really great this episode. Every time she's talking about Angel or like in a scene with Angel, I thought she was doing a stellar job. I will ding some points off of Giles though, Sarah. Do you not feel like when she's saying to him, let's pretend Angel was back. I had a dream Angel was back. He's like, do you think it's a prophecy? And she's like, it was quite 3D. Shouldn't he know that this is Buffy speak for this man is back from the demon hellhole?
Is this like when guys say that like girls talk in circles and hypotheticals and then they should just like say what we mean because men are mind readers? Is that what it is?
I guess so, but I'm just like, this isn't just any man and any girl. You are her watcher. You've been with her now for multiple years. How are you not reading between the lines? Even as maybe it's that it's just so out of the realm of what Giles thinks is possible. But it just felt like Buffy was being so obvious and overt about Angel being back that I don't understand how it is that Giles doesn't realize what's going on.
I mean, I agree with you. Like, I do think that he should have seen through it, but also Giles is not a mind reader. Giles has a lot of shit going on. So I don't really totally blame him. So let's talk about what Angel's up to in general. So he comes back and it is the rules of what we saw in the beginning of the season. Like he got brought down to hell and it's been hundreds of years to him. So he has, I don't know, probably been tortured down there, probably has been.
He's been overworked being the pool boy of Satan.
Yes. He's overworked,
sunburnt,
underpaid. He hasn't had a lot of human or non-human demon interaction. He hasn't spoken to anybody and he has lost himself and it's been hundreds of years. So just to remind, he was 200 and it's been hundreds of years. It's very well possible Angel could be like 500 years old now.
Certainly possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Centuries. Basically. So he comes back and he's like, I I don't know. He's like literally like a beast. Like he is a wolf in a way. Like he is just like going around and gnarling his teeth. And he comes across Buffy in the middle of the night when Buffy's on a watch. She is shocked. And somehow she has shackled him and is keeping him in her like garage. Not really, but like basically in the catacombs. But
yes.
And, yeah. She's like, you are now shackled, and he is of course going to get out of the shackles, and he comes, saves Buffy's ass with the whole Debbie and whomever thing.
Pete, I think his name is. Yeah, Pete, who
cares?
He's been infected with toxic masculinity.
Yeah, the green goop was green gooping, and it
was green gooping. Yeah, so here's where we have missed opportunities. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We had opportunities for Angel to be stuck in the chains and then somehow become Angel again and not be this like savage beast, and for them to make out while he's in chains. And we had missed opportunities. Sarah, just imagine this is happening.
Yes.
There's this sudden look and the fangs retreat back into his mouth, and he just looks her in the eyes and he says, Buffy, and then they kiss, and then the music plays.
Mm-hmm. Oh. I mean, that could have happened. No, we didn't get that.
Didn't get that.
Yeah. The fanfic was not nobody was in charge of the fanfic this week. Yeah. And do we have any idea how Angel became Angel again instead of this?
No, like
beast?
the only clues we really have. So we have this conversation between Giles and Buffy where she's asking, like, is there any way a person can come back from being this like horrible, horrible monster? And Giles says there's two types. One, they have to like want to be redeemed, and they are, they can be redeemed because they want to be. And the second type is just like a void person. They don't have any response to love or reason, or they're just savage beasts, right? I think Buffy is trying to test this when she has a conversation with Angel while he is still like growling and snarling and whatever. She says his name. She asks, like, do you understand me? I don't. And then it's later that he saves her. Now the question is, like, I have to assume it's something to do with that it's like love that like brought him to his senses, because otherwise, why the fuck was he there? It wasn't like they went to the place he was shackled. He showed up at Sunnydale, which to me either means he can smell Buffy and followed her scent, or he has enough happening in his brain that he knows Sunnydale and knows to go there to see Buffy. You know what I mean? So that's all we have, I think, to work with, is that it was love or like Buffy's voice that brought him back from the savage beast. I don't know.
I don't know. And I don't know if I really care, because
I don't know that the show wants us to look that closely at it, honestly.
Well, no, because it's kind of like a Monet, right? You look too closely, it's a whole big mess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, I just feel as though, I don't mean to be like an old grump, but I'm just like not feeling it. I'm just not. And maybe it's because there's so many more exciting things like Faith, and like
Cordelia was barely even in this episode.
Yeah. I just feel as though it feels a little like lackluster, but I'm gonna put like my faith in all of you, because you say this season's good, but I'm saying compared to season 2, I'm not seeing it so far.
Okay, but Sarah, season 2 didn't get off to the best start either. Like, I don't know if you remember, I was very hot and cold on season 2 in the beginning, because it was like, oh, well, we had Spike and Lulu, and then they disappeared, and we were left with like a stupid monster of the week.
I was vibing though. I was vibing.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, we'll see where this goes. I am not a huge fan of the way in which they did this. Like, I'm not saying don't bring Angel back, although I wouldn't be mad if he wasn't back, but I just don't like the way they did it. So that I think left a lot to be desired. But can we talk a little bit about, we're not going to spend a ton of time on Scott. What I mainly need to ask is, when Buffy is now like eating lunch with these randos. She's like sitting with Scott and his friends, Pete and Debbie. And why? I understand Buffy's not feeling well. She's not sleeping well. She's dealing with all this angel drama on top of the fact that it's like, okay, was it Angel or Oz or some mystery monster that is killing people? We don't even know. Why is she eating an entire lunch comprised of Jell-O?
It looks so good. It looked so yummy. Yes. No. I don't remember why, but remember when I was on the lime Jell-O kick?
Yes, I was just going to say lime Jell-O. Yes, it sticks out in my brain that you love lime Jell-O. But here's the thing, Sarah. Are you pro things in your Jell-O?
I don't mind the fruit. I don't mind the fruit. I don't like where we get like fancy with the whipped cream and the whatever. I'm not into that. But yeah, I don't mind some fruit in my Jell-O, but I would fuck someone up for some lime Jell-O right about now. There is something about lime Jell-O and sorbet. How did I start on this? It was Boy Meets World, I think. It was many years ago.
You just got really into a lime Jell-O kick, and I don't know why. Did you make it at home, or would you buy like the little like snack packs of it?
I don't even think I made it. I just think I craved it.
You didn't even end up eating any of it after all that talk of lime Jell-O?
I don't know.
No, you definitely ate some.
Maybe. I remember buying lime sorbet. Like I clearly remember buying that and eating that, but I don't remember about the Jell-O. I'm fine with the Jell-O lunch because you know what? Jell-O's so yummy. I don't know why people hate Jell-O. Yes, it's made out of horse hooves, but like why do we hate Jell-O?
I like Jell-O. I don't have a problem with Jell-O. I think my problem with Buffy's meal is, one, I don't like things in my Jell-O. Like, I'll just take my Jell-O plain. Two, I'm very particular about the flavors of Jell-O I like. And three, I don't understand what school cafeteria is serving 4 different flavors of Jell-O. Like, I just don't understand. And I don't understand how it's because I'm tired and I can't chew my food right now. Then get a smoothie, girl. Like, don't be just hoofing down Jell-O.
What do you think we are at? Like Erewhon? Like, we don't have that in this place.
But they're in California.
I know, but all we have is the Jell-O. I don't know. Maybe it was the 90s or early 2000s. Like maybe it's just like what they had.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were just on a Jell-O kick.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't like this lunch crew. I hate this. Pete and Debbie obviously suck. Can we also just for a second? Yes. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I want to know. Oh, I don't think you ever had a high school boyfriend, but maybe
yes, I did. Well, I had a boyfriend while I was in high school, but he wasn't in high school.
That's what I was saying, Jessica.
Oh, well, you made it sound like I didn't have any boyfriends.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm asking you, like, did any of your friends start ditching you to eat lunch with their boyfriends?
Oh, this is interesting. This is a great question. No, I think if any of my friends had a boyfriend, they would eat at our table. Okay. I don't recall any of my friends ever leaving our table to go eat with their boyfriend. What an excellent question, though, because how do you decide who gets custody? Like whose lunch table are we eating at, your friends or mine? Unless you have the same friend group.
Well, that's, I think, the ideal situation. Like you guys have the same friend group, so the friend groups like stay together in one table. But I just feel like it is very disrespectful for Buffy to like up and leave the Scoobies and not sit with her friends during lunch.
Especially because it's very testy. She left for a few months already.
Yeah. You have to sit with your friends. And honestly, it's only 4 people. And so it's like those 4 people, like whatever their fucking heads are. I don't know what their names are. Pete, Debbie, Scott, Buffy, then we got Xander and Cordelia, and then Willow and Oz. So that's 8. Does Faith go to school, or is she like no school?
Faith dropped out. I don't think she goes to school.
She doesn't go to school. What does she do during the day?
That's what I don't know, because I think this episode, the only times we saw her were in the evenings. We saw her like patrolling with Buffy. We saw her watching Oz. I think I think what you need here, Sarah, this is why in cafeterias you need bigger tables, because these tables are very small and it's a 4-top. Our tables were those ones that fold up, and they sat like 20 people or something. Like, they were huge.
I heard that certain schools got rid of circle tables because circle tables enable cliques. So they only do long rectangular tables. Yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, isn't it just like a stamp of adolescence to be kicked off of somebody's lunch table and have to be like sitting at like the circle table? Like, why are we taking this pivotal experience away from the losers?
I definitely don't think that any sort of table configuration does or doesn't contribute to cliques. But what I do think is that it's going to be tough if you have a friend group of more than fucking 4 people in Sunnydale, because you're never going to be able to sit together. Like, even the Scoobies, there's more than 4 of them. How the fuck are they sitting at a table together?
And I guess like we can't push the tables together. I guess that's probably
circular.
Something that Principal Snyder would, I mean, you can have like a figure 8. Principal Snyder would probably be like really upset about moving the tables.
He didn't like when Willow was sitting on his lap. He's certainly not going to like moving tables around.
Principal Snyder's anti-slut and anti-long rectangular tables.
And he's just anti-fun in general. The long and the short of this whole Pete and Debbie situation is apparently Pete started taking some weird green goo. Mm-hmm. And because his reasoning is he wants to be more of a man for Debbie. Debbie, whose hair, by the way, I don't understand. Okay, because I know they're going to cast like 20-somethings to pretend to be teenagers, whatever, child labor laws. I get it. We don't also need to give her the hair of a 40-year-old real estate agent. Can we not? What was up with that bob? What the hell was that fuck-ass bob, Sarah? Please explain it to me.
Well, when scissors and a woman get together, sometimes they produce an ugly haircut.
Yeah.
And that's just the birds and the bees, really.
It was so bad. And so I also, it felt a little bit like Hulk sort of vibe, Sarah, because it's like this man, he takes green goo to be more masculine, but then eventually he gets to the point where anytime he gets angry, he just turns into like toxic masculinity man and hulks out on people.
I just feel like I'm really sick of the storyline of a teenage boy takes something and turns into something else, because
we've been here.
It's a rinse and repeat storyline, and I'm just really fatigued by it. I think that the thing is like, I like the Monster of the Weeks when it is an original thought, and I think I'm just like sick of this. And I'm also sick of just bringing in random teenagers and having them die, because then once again, nobody means anything. Like, everybody is just like some rando person. There's not a lot of like payoff of this person's been around for a really long time. I mean, and they're gone now. It's just like, it just feels whatever. So yeah, and Debbie loves her Hulk boyfriend, and she doesn't care if he's, not manly, but he cares. So he starts like killing people. There's murders about. He like hits poor Debbie. It turns into a domestic violence thing, which is very sad, very awful. And they start blaming Oz, because Oz is it's his time of the month, and he is, he has 3 days where he turns into a werewolf, and everyone's patrolling him, and accidentally the window is left open, and they are blaming Oz for these murders, but in actuality it's just what's his? You told me
Pete. His name is Pete.
I won't remember that.
It's fine.
He keeps killing any guy that interacts with Debbie.
Exactly. And Yeah, and because Xander fell asleep, they don't know for certain that Oz was in the cage the whole night. But my argument is, Sarah, because this is where I get a little confused on how everyone's freaking out. If Oz was a werewolf and escaped via the window and went out and killed a person, why the fuck would Oz, as said lunatic werewolf, climb back in the window into the cage? It doesn't make any sense. If he's a primal savage beast that he turns into, why is he going to try to trap himself back in a cage? It just doesn't really track. I don't know that they're... Obviously, we didn't see who it was. Like, there was always some suspense of like, oh, could it be Oz? But I never really thought it was Oz.
No, I didn't think it was Oz either. But I think the thing was that, like, say Oz wakes up at like 5 a.m. when the sun comes up. He's like, oh, crap. Like, I need to be in the library. And then he like runs his little butt to the library and then like slips in as a human.
But then he would know he did that and he would admit to it. He was very unaware the whole episode. And like even to the point where Willow decides to play forensic scientist and go to the fucking morgue, which somehow she has access to, and like pick away at like one of the only scenes we have Cordelia in. They're like looking at the body to see if it looks like it was a werewolf that attacked this man. And I gotta be honest, Sarah, I was deeply, deeply confused during the scene because Willow passes out. I had assumed, this is stupid, but I had assumed she had inhaled some like toxins that made her pass out. I guess she just fainted because it looked like it was a werewolf attack and she thought it was Oz.
Okay, this just might be a bad episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And nobody warned us.
I mean, I think that's fair, though. I think it's fair for us to not get warning when there's good ones, and it's fair for us to not get warnings when there's bad ones.
Yeah,
I just feel like I'm poking holes in this whole story, right?
Well, she just like randomly faints, and I didn't really understand it either. Like, was it
good. I'm glad it wasn't just me.
No, was it too gross? Was it like alarming?
I think she was overwhelmed with the idea that it could be Oz.
Was the fumes, the embalming fumes? Did that get to her? I don't know, but yeah, she faints. So everyone's very upset. Oz is like, he starts to blame himself, and ultimately he does like the little like grumpy boy, like
walk away.
Don't talk to me like I'm a monster. You can't come near me.
But I love that the show pointed out that's what it was. And also that he couldn't do it because he had to get locked up in the sex cage.
He comes back. He's like, you know what? I thought about it and you can like lock me up. But just know in spirit, I'm storming away and brooding.
Yeah.
Just
so
know
good.
that. Just know that.
I did feel bad for Oz this episode because he doesn't know if he hurt someone. And that must be really, really difficult to live with on a day-to-day basis and always be relying on like Willow and other people to constantly have to like babysit you 3 days out of the month. Like that's not an insignificant amount of time.
Yeah, this is why Professor Lupin just got shut off in the house in the tree. And they were like, set it and forget it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No one is allowed to even watch him.
He was like a Thanksgiving turkey. They just put him in there and said, we'll see you in time.
Yep. And we don't care if you escape and you kill anybody. We just don't want to know about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, just full autonomy over there. I don't think Lupin never escaped, did he?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know, girl.
Anyway. Also, I meant to say this last episode, and since we have some extra time because we really don't care that much about this episode, Faith has some really fun lingo that she likes to throw around, which I very much love and appreciate. She said 5 by 5 a bunch of times, which is like, I guess to mean like, oh, we're square, we're good, like we're 5 by 5.
Yeah. I do like it. I think that is an I'm not going to pick this up in my everyday lingo because it's absolutely bonkers, but I did enjoy it as a concept.
Yeah, we're 5 by 5. How did you feel about her asking Buffy if she got that good tickle down low when she kissed Scott?
That is revolting.
What? I thought you would be all in on this. Not in on the little tickle down below?
No, that gives me the creeps.
I forget what show it is, but there was a show, maybe it was Sex Education. I don't remember. There was a show, and it had to be British because of the lingo they use, where they would call it fanny flutters.
Oh my god!
Because your fanny is your vagina, and it would be like, oh, when you get that like fluttering in your vagina, like you just it fanny flutters.
I don't know. Like I don't like the little cutesy words. Like this is the equivalent of panties. Like I fucking hate the word panties.
I'm not a fan of it either.
It's god awful. Like, and yeah, like I call a hoo-ha, but like I'm not going to call it like a delicate flower, you know?
No.
There's
a difference, I think, though, because we're talking like this is like silly names for when you're like your loins are warm or whatever.
Just say that you're horny, girl.
Horny is not a fun word, though. I don't think. It doesn't sound fun.
Wait, what did the Bridgerton people say? I burn for you.
Yeah, my loins are burning for you.
Oh, you always have to take it one step extra.
Yeah, of course I do.
Why?
Because I just enjoy doing it.
It's just
so you don't
much.
like get that good tickle down low. I think that's what she said. I
would be like, I would tell you how I feel if you speak like a normal human. Please, for the love of God.
Well, Buffy asks, I guess, but how low?
This is like also this conversation was like whenever like I'm Faith, like please talk to me about sex, and you're like Buffy, and like none of your business, you disgusting being.
What did you think of the muffin talk where Faith calls Scott a muffin and Buffy says blueberry, that crunchy munchy stuff on top?
That is a good muffin. I know exactly the muffin that she's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that means that he's yummy, but
I just don't think he is, though. He's so boring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't find him attractive. I just feel like Faith speaks like an alien. It's as if
maybe she is an alien.
Maybe she's like, she comes from outer space and she's like, I think that this is how teenage girls speak, and this is what I'm going to say. And everybody around her is like, I have no idea what this bitch is saying, but I guess I'll go along with it. Sure. Because Buffy always had her zingers, and she had like special Buffyisms, but at least it was human English. Like I have no fucking clue what Faith is on about at any point in time.
I love it. I'm here for it.
This is so funny that like you would enjoy this, because I'm just like, who talks like this?
I enjoy her making her up her own random things like 5x5. I love her calling Buffy B or Buff. Like she just makes up her own nicknames for people. She's just very creative. I enjoy it.
This is like, fetch is not a word. Like, don't like stop trying to make fetch happen. Like it is absolutely nothingness.
I think people enjoy 5x5. I feel like the fans do.
I think people love Faith, and I'm still waiting to fall in love with her.
Well, because you're a main character girly. We've talked about this. You're going to be like, you're encroaching in on Buffy's territory. Who the fuck are you? Back the fuck up.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling still. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that this episode did a lot for me to like move the needle in enjoying Faith.
There wasn't much of her. It's similarly with Cordy, right? Like it was like we barely had any Faith, barely had any Cordelia, because we were spending a lot of time on the Oz of it all and introducing new characters that we were just going to kill off. Speaking of, actually, I want to get your opinion on Buffy's guidance counselor that surprisingly died the very first episode we met him.
I really liked him. You and I are big advocates of therapy and getting guidance for your mental health. Guidance counselors, I honestly think, are typically the worst people in the universe, but he seems pretty good. I liked him, and I liked that she was resistant at first. She's like, I'm going to go to you, but I don't want to talk about my childhood. I don't want to talk about my traumas. I don't want to talk about this, that, or the other thing. And he was patient with her, and he kind of was like, he kind of prodded, but not to the extent of where it became super uncomfortable for her. And eventually she like was interested in like opening up. She said that she was going through a breakup, and he was able to understand like, oh, the guy changed. And it's very, they're kind of talking about two different things, but the same in a way. And I was really bummed that he wound up getting killed so quickly, because I definitely think that Buffy needs this sort of support.
I completely agree with you. And it might also be, I feel like I was partially set up to think this guy was going to stick around for a little bit because I recognize the actor. And so usually when that happens, I'm like, oh, they're going to be here for a minute. This guy I recognize as like the hotel owner of like The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, I think, which is a weird pull, but that's why I recognize it. He's been in other things too. But I agree with you that I think he had a very interesting perspective where he got Buffy to talk, and I feel like he knew. I loved when he was talking about, right, like, oh, and then he got mean, and she says yes, and he says, and you didn't stop loving him. And like, gosh, if that's not so spot on, that like sometimes people do change, and like he doesn't exactly know what she's referring to, but sometimes people change, but that doesn't stop you from being in love with them, and it makes it that much harder to end things or move on from things. And the other thing I thought originally Sarah could have been at play here was immediately I was in my head like, okay, does Principal Snyder know this person? Does this person secretly know Buffy is a Slayer? Is there something here? Mm-hmm. And then they killed Tim off, and so that was kind of that. Because he was saying a lot of things where like you could interpret it two ways. Like, oh, there are demons, right? You know what I mean? Like he could be saying demons, and he actually does mean demons, even though Buffy thinks he means inner demons. So I'm disappointed because, one, I totally agree with you. I think it'd be nice to have Buffy have some sort of therapist or guidance counselor, beyond Giles to have these conversations with. Two, representation, you know what I mean? Like also a thing that matters on the show where we don't get a ton of people of color a lot of the time. I recognize the actor. I don't know. I just feel like a little bit of a missed opportunity here, especially if we're going to kill him in one episode. It was just kind of like, all right, well, that felt like a waste of time, I guess.
Yeah. And I would have preferred to go to this guy instead of Tony Pavone from Felicity. He's definitely more so my type of therapist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Tony on. Yeah. Yeah. I think he was a little, I guess it all depends on the style that you like, because he was very much like leading her to the statements, which maybe is helpful in terms of like realization for Buffy, I guess.
True.
Well,
so, yeah. I mean, it was a shame. And I like at first Buffy was very resistant, but then eventually she like went to him to go open up and he was already dead. It was unfortunate.
Yeah. Yep. And so then, finally the last thing is just the kicky, punchy. We get a scene where Pete gets locked in the sex cage, but he's able to get out. And then Oz, smack dab on time, turns into such a Party City costume of a werewolf.
Oh my gosh. This was so bad.
It was really bad.
I mean,
and it wasn't even saved by the idea of like, oh, this is the first episode as a werewolf, so it's like kind of exciting and we can forgive it.
I don't blame the show for having less sophisticated technology or costuming. It's just like, I don't know. I can't even think of something that it's worse than Cats the musical. It's just like, it's literally a Party City costume, honestly, truly. It looks terrible. Like, I really don't understand why we couldn't have elevated this costume for poor Oz. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's really tragic. The one thing we do get out of all these like kicky punchy scenes, though, is that Giles gets hit with a tranquilizer dart, and it's hilarious.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was fun.
I suppose it was fun.
Yeah.
So what do we think is going to happen with Angel? Let's go back to Angel.
Yeah. Okay. So from what we saw, the way we left the episode is Buffy's kind of watching him sleep. He wasn't chained up anymore. So, okay, he's back to being Angel, but does he have his memories? Like, I guess he's going to stick around for a while. My guess is Angel gets back together, but they're fraught with Buffy's conflicted because he killed so many people, and Xander's angry because he's a jealous asshole who just can't stop being angry at Angel. And then maybe eventually Angel gets called off to do something somewhere else and leaves to spin off. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess so. Now I don't think that Angel's a prequel. I think that you're right. Like, I think that he is going to go on mission. Maybe he's going to be like, I think that I'm needed elsewhere. I need to go save the universe and destroy vampires. And you need to be a normal human girl, teenager slayer. I think that he's going to wind up breaking up with her and being like, I'm just like too much. I don't deserve your love. You need to be normal and have like a life without me. Mm-hmm. And Buffy's going to get her little heart broken, and then she's going to get to be a normal teenage girl.
I could see that. Yeah, I definitely could. I liked where they left it. So it kind of sucks that they brought him back, because I feel exactly like you were saying, where it's like, oh, if we kill people and then we bring them back, like, pun intended, where are the fucking stakes? Like, what are we doing here if anyone can just be brought back from the dead? But I do think the more interesting aspect, I don't particularly care what they're going to do with Angel. What I do think is interesting is that Buffy has not told anybody yet. Mm-hmm. So how long is she going to keep this secret? How long until the Scoobies plus Giles finds out? How long until all of that? Possibly, I mean, the whole Xander thing comes home to roost of him lying to Buffy in the finale. But like, I feel like we're 4 episodes in and nothing happened with that. So maybe nothing does.
Well, now does it even matter? Because he's back.
Yeah,
so he's
exactly
like, oh, that was shitty of you. But I mean, he's back. So I guess it doesn't matter.
Right, but you know that there's still going to be a civil war in terms of which Scoobies think that Angel should be allowed to live and which ones think, well, he killed a bunch of people, so we should kill him. Like, he's dangerous, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm sure that's going to happen, and I'm sure it's going to happen within the next couple episodes.
Yeah, now Angel is like the kid that brings home a puppy and hides the puppy in her room. And then everyone's like, okay, like, I'm going to come into your room. We're going to like clean your room today. And they're like, no, don't come in.
Yeah. What's that barking? Nothing. That's my TV.
What's that like crazy snarly vampire sound going on in there? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, and then she like gives blood to the blood bank, and she's like, oh, can I have like an extra for the road? And they're like, why would you need that? And you're like, oh, I just want to, bring it into my room for later, blah, blah, blah. Like, ridiculous. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. I don't know. I'm excited for next week. I'm like hopeful. Like, I just feel like every week it could possibly get better. So I'm just going to live in my disillusion.
Well, I think you're going to be excited when I reveal the episode title.
What is the episode title?
So season 3, episode 5, Homecoming.
Oh, Hoko.
So I knew you would love this. So we could be looking at a dance. We could be looking at a football game. Like,
this is exciting.
We got some options here. I think what things are looking up.
Okay. So I love Hoko.
Does anybody actually call it Hoko, or is that just a you thing?
No, I think plenty of people call it Hoko.
Listeners, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know if this is like a regional thing or what this
is. Regional thing.
It could be a regional thing.
It's a Midwestern thing.
What have you been watching anything exciting lately? I know you finished Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and then you were watching Veep. Did you finish Veep?
I have a couple more episodes of Veep left. We just got distracted because Adam's had like a lot of Pretty Little Liars to watch, so we're just watching Pretty Little Liars.
Gotcha.
And just started, and Shameless, because we're busy over at Whirlwind. But and today we started the newest season of Love Is Blind. We watched 1 episode of it so far. So
can I just say 6 episodes of Love Is Blind being dropped all at once when they're all over an hour is too much.
Interesting. Okay. What would you prefer?
I'd prefer if Netflix is going to drop them in these like multiple episode drops weekly. I think 3. I think 3 is all you need. Get them to the point where they're moving out of the pods, and I think we're good. But like, I watch this shit on 1.5, Sarah. I cannot.
Really?
Yeah, because I get bored. And can I tell you, this is horrible. Because my favorite part of Love is Blind is once they're out of the pods. I thrive when they're out of the pods, when all the drama's happening. I think I fast forwarded through every single proposal this season.
Oh, Jessica.
Because I just don't care. When you've seen one of them, you've seen them all.
Jessica, do you not believe in love?
No, I do, but also I don't want to watch some person that's barely known some person for like 2 days be like, you're everything I've ever needed. It's too much.
Do you think that Love is Blind?
No.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
I think you still need to be attracted to the person that you're dating. But anyway, continue. So you started Love is Blind.
Yes. That's my thought. I mean, like, I don't really have much thoughts because I'm only an episode into it. And I guess, I don't know, my takes are, it's just like a bunch of like really vapid people. But it always is. I like one girl, but I don't know her name. So
can you describe what she looks like?
She looks, she was like the nice Asian girl.
Oh, I like her. Taylor, I think her name is.
Taylor. And she got into this like very awkward discussion with her guy.
About her race and stuff.
Yeah, which like I understand. It's just like, it just became so weird very quickly. Because like Adam and I were sitting and he literally was like, I like this couple. And I was like, I like this couple too. And then it became this weird race thing. And they were like, well, we just shat the bed. we spoke literally a minute too soon.
For those who don't watch the show, basically what happened was like she didn't want to reveal her mother's name because she's Asian and her mother's name is like a traditional Asian name. And she knew it would give away how she looked. And she wanted to be like, she wanted to remove that from the equation of like in terms of falling in love, which I suppose is just following along with the conceit of the show. But also, if someone was racist, I wouldn't want to date them. So I don't know. It's tricky.
I don't know if he was racist.
Oh no, I'm not saying he was. I'm saying like if they found out what race I was and was like, oh, ew, I wouldn't want to date them anyway.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they're probably gonna work it out, but I don't know. I don't really have big opinions on it quite yet. How about you? What are you watching?
So I've seen all 6 episodes of Love is Blind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rewatching the Apple TV Plus show Bad Sisters, which is a Sharon Horgan kind of dark comedy murder mystery set in Ireland, because it comes back in November. And gosh, I'm trying to think of anything new that I'm watching. Not really a ton, honestly. Will and I finished The Americans. And what drama are we watching? Are we even watching a drama? I really don't know. I don't know. That's about all we're watching. Nothing really exciting.
I'm trying to just read. I'm on book number 18 of the year, which is not it's not that much, but like it's not bad.
More than I've read.
So I went to the library today and I got more books.
Nice.
So I'm just going to
Are you close to your local library now? Do you live close to it?
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes away. It's not too bad.
No, it's not bad. Okay. Well,
I'm
that was our episode of Buffy.
We have no feedback because nobody.
No one cares about this episode. And I understand why.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Also, just because I don't think I said it enough this episode, fuck Xander and everything he stands for. Just had to get that out there. But yeah, next week we'll be back with season 3, episode 5. If you want to leave us a 5-star review, I will read it on the podcast. And if you want to find us and send us in feedback for the next episode, which hopefully is better than this one, at shit90spod, shit90spod.com, you know where to find us. In the meantime, I'm at the Jess Sterling. Sarah's at Sara Fergenson. We both were on a podcast over on Whirlwind Podcasts talking about The Face on the Milk Carton, a classic 90s book, children's book. I don't know, adolescent book maybe. It was fun. Go check it out. We had a really fun conversation with our friends Melissa and Lindy. Anything else you can think of, Sarah? I think that's about everything.
No,
nope, she's shaking. Okay. I thought you weren't going to say anything and I was going to.
No.
Sarah is shaking her head.
I was answering the question.
Well, that's everything we have. So until next time, everyone, here endeth the lesson.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.